Hey, what's going on guys? Tanmay here for Simple Snippets and welcome back to another video tutorial on data structures and algorithms. And we're going to continue with our binary search tree data structure. And today, as the title of the video suggests, we're going to take a look at the insertion operation. So if you've missed any of the previous tutorials from this playlist, in the last two tutorials we've started with the topic of binary search tree. We've taken an overview of what is a binary search tree, how is it different from a regular binary tree, and we also started the implementation in the previous video wherein we took a look at the approach that we are going to take, which is going to be the dynamic node creation in the memory approach. And we also saw the BST class, we also saw the tree node class, and we also wrote a little bit of C++ code because we started with the implementation, that is the practical side. So if you've missed any of the previous tutorials, please watch those first. This is like the continuation of those videos. If you have already seen those, you're good to go. Things are going to be very easy. And without further ado, let's get started. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tanmay Sakpal and I do a lot of computer science and information technology video tutorials like computer programming, development, technology talks, and a lot more on this channel. So if that's something you're interested into, then definitely subscribe and turn on the notifications to get the latest updates and never miss out on such important topics. Okay, so today we're going to talk about insertion and we're going to see the pseudocode, we're going to see the diagram, we're going to see the working, and lastly by the end of this video we will also write a C++ program to convert this pseudocode which you can see on the left into a proper program. Okay, so make sure you watch this video till the end if you want to have both theory, working as well as the practical knowledge. So before we dry run the pseudocode, a quick recap of our approach, and on the left hand side you can see this is a binary tree which is represented using dynamic nodes in the memory. So this is what a particular node or a typical node would look like. So this is the name n1, this is hash 10 which is the memory in which this node is created. Now of course this memory is just imaginary, it's not an actual address, but we are taking it for representation purpose. Now taking a look at the node, it would have the value, it is also known as data or it is also known as key. Okay. And then the node will have a left pointer and a right pointer which, as the name suggests, would point to the left child and the right child. So on the right hand side you can see this is the class tree node. This is what we saw in the previous tutorial also. The data members, as you can see, are integer value which is the center part. Then tree node star left, which means that this is a pointer, and we are talking about pointers because we're going to write a program in C++. If you're using any other general purpose programming language, the logic is going to be the same, but of course we do not have pointers in other programming languages, so the implementation is obviously going to be different. But yeah, then we have tree node right, so these are both pointers which point to the left and right child, and that's how you link up these different nodes. Now let's come back to our insertion part. Okay, so before we go through this pseudocode step by step, that is the insert function, how do you insert a new node? Okay, so let's say right now we have nothing. On the right hand side you can see we have a blank space over here. Let's say you want to add a node. So for the first time, let's say you want to add a node over here. Let's give it a name n1. Okay, let's say it is created at a memory location hash 10. Alright, let's say it has the value of 20. Okay, so this is n1. Now when you want to add this into the binary search tree, for the first node this will become the root node, right? So this initially will become the root. Alright, this makes sense. So we've just added one node into the binary search tree. Now when I say we added a new node into the binary search tree, the binary search tree is nothing but going to be a separate class named BST, inside which we will have a root data member. So this is also something that we saw in the previous tutorial. Alright, so let's say now we want to add one more node. So how do you do that? So let's say now the node that you want to add, let's say it is n2, which has the value of 10. Okay, let's create that node. Let's say this is n2 who's created at an address of hash 7. Okay, and let's say it has the value of 10. Alright, now according to the binary search tree principle, we know that in a binary search tree, when you add a new node, it has to have an appropriate place into the tree. When I say appropriate place, it means that since this is the root node, when you add a new node, depending upon what the value is, it will either be attached to the left hand side or to the right hand side. And that is given by the principle that for a particular node, all the values in the left subtree should be lower than that node value, and all the values in the right subtree should be greater than that node value. So we need to compare 10 and 20. And now we know that 10 is obviously less than 20. That means n2 will be added as a left child for this node n1. So this #7 will be stored as the left child address, right? Because in n1, remember, we have a left and right pointer. So now the left pointer will have the address of n2. So that's how we add nodes. Let's add one more node. Okay, so I just added node n3 with the value of 30. Now of course it got added to the right hand side of n1 because 30 is greater than 20. So now this is a proper binary search tree because it is following the principle where for every node the left subtree has lesser values and the right subtree has greater values. Okay, so far manually you've understood how we are adding nodes. Let's add one more node now. Let's say we want to add n4 with the value of 15. Okay, so where will n4 get added? Now if you observe, 15 is smaller than 20. So whenever you add a new node, you start from the root node and you go down till the last level and you add new nodes at the lower levels. Okay, so this is something that you have to remember. In a binary search tree, whenever you are adding nodes, they are always added at the end. That is, they are added at the lower levels, which is the bottom of the tree. Okay, so n4 is having a value of 15. So you start from the root node is n1, n1's value is 20, and the node that you want to add is 15. So 15 is less than 20, right? So where should 15 reside? To the left or to the right of n1? Of course to the left, right? So you will traverse from n1 to the left side of n1, which is n2. So you'll go one level down and you'll come to n2. So you're traversing from n1 to n2. Now you will compare this 15 again with n2's value. So 15 is greater than 10, right? So where does n4 be attached after n2? Because of course n4 will be attached somewhere below n2, right? And when I say somewhere, there are two possibilities over here. Either it gets attached to the left or it gets attached to the right, because both of them are blank. Right now n2 does not have any child, so n2 is gonna get one child, but where it should be attached is the question that we are trying to figure out. And that is figured out by this simple expression: because 15 is greater than 10, n4 will be attached as the right child of n2. So n4 will be attached somewhere over here. Let's create n4, and this is how the attachment would look like. n2's right pointer will now point to the address of n4, which is #1. So #1 will be stored over here, and now n2 has a right child of n4. Okay, so now you've got a basic understanding of how these nodes are inserted into the binary search tree. You simply have to traverse starting from the root till the bottom, and you have to keep on checking the new node's value that you want to insert with the value of the current node, and depending upon whether it is greater or smaller, you keep on traversing or you append it. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have to attach nodes at the end. What I mean is, I could append n4 below n2 because n2 had a blank right pointer. If in case n2 had something else over here, that is, if let's say n2 is pointing to some other value n5 with some value, then we'll have to traverse till n5, right? So we can attach nodes only when either the left or right is blank, and also depending upon the comparison of the values of those different nodes. Now with that basic understanding, let's see the insert nodes pseudocode and try to dry run this step by step and see the different conditions which will mimic this kind of process, this kind of working, because of course we need to write a code, right? And in order to write a code, we need some set of instructions which follows this behavior, which helps us to traverse to particular different nodes and then append a new node, right? So for that we need step-by-step process, and that is what a pseudocode is. So let's see this pseudocode. Okay, so this is the first line, which is void insert node, which is basically the function name. So insert node is the function name, and we are passing a new node inside this. So a new node will be passed in the insert node and it will get inserted at the bottom in the binary search tree. So that's why this is how the function prototype looks like. Now do note that this is not the exact syntax of any particular programming language. This is just a pseudocode. Pseudocode is nothing but a part English, part code kind of syntax, which does not have any generic, does not have some set of rules. You can have your own different pseudocodes in plain English, or you can mix it up. You can find some standards, but you don't need to follow them. This is just for understanding purpose. But then we will take this same pseudocode and convert it into C++ code by following these same steps. So this conversion becomes easier. Okay. Alright. So when we go inside the pseudocode, the first step is if root equal to null, then root equals to new node. Now of course, when you are adding the very first node in the BST tree, binary search tree, the root is going to be null, right? Because the root is going to be pointing to null. Let's say we have something called as the root pointer. We have the root pointer in the BST class, right? So initially it is going to be pointing to null. But when you add a new node, let's say you add a new node, let's say the node is n1 whose value is 22 and it is created at an address of hash 65. So as shown over here in the diagram, for the first line, that is the first instruction, it says if root equals to null, which is true in the first case, then you simply say root equals to new node. So now our root will start pointing to n1, which means the root will have the address of hash 65. Now do note that when it comes to programming, when we go to the practical implementation, this is going to be a pointer and hence it is going to point to the node by storing its address. Okay. So now root will start pointing to n1. Okay. Makes sense? This is the first condition. And since this if is going to be executed, the entire point number 2, which is basically this entire code, will not be executed because if got executed and then we have else. So if the if block is executed, the else block will not be executed. We can simply print over here node inserted. Correct? And then you come out of the function. Okay. So the first node got inserted. Let's insert one more node using this same pseudocode, using this same function. Let's say now the node supposed to be inserted is node n2. It has the value of 10. And let's say it is created at an address of 33. Okay. So again, starting off with the first instruction, which says if root equal to null, then root equals to new node. Right now root is not null because root is pointing to n1 and it has the value of hash 65. So this if block will not be executed because it will become false. Then we will move on to the else part. Okay. So in the else part, what we have to do is we have to do the traversal. When I say traversal, it means that we have to travel from the root node to the lower end of the tree because we want to append or we want to insert that new node at the very bottom. Okay. So in the else part, the first step is to set temp equals to root. So we create a temporary pointer, let's call it temp, and we say temp equals to root. What is the value stored inside root? Root is storing hash 65. So temp will also have hash 65 and hash 65 is the address of n1. So now it will start pointing to n1. So why are we doing this? We are doing this because we want to use this temp pointer to traverse from n1 to n2 to n3 and so on. If there are any other nodes in this entire BST tree, we are going to use this temp variable to do the traversal. Okay. So that the root value remains intact and we simply keep on changing the temp pointer's value. Alright. Moving on, we have step number 2.2, which is a while loop. So we say while temp not equals to null. So we're going to use a while loop to do the traversal. So this is a iterative approach. What do I mean by iterative approach? In an iterative approach, we usually use loops and not recursion. So I have seen some functions, that is some insert functions with BST, which also use the recursion, that is the recursive approach. We are going to keep it simple for this particular function, that is for this particular operation of insertion, and we are going to use the iterative approach using a while loop. However, do note that recursion is going to be used in further tutorials in other operations. So I hope you know what is recursion. I have a dedicated video on recursion both in C++ and Java. If you want, you can check that out. I'll drop the link in the video description because anyways we're going to need it in further tutorials. Alright, so moving on. So we're going to use the while loop and the condition is going to be while temp not equals to null. So we will traverse the entire binary search tree using this temp pointer, and when the temp pointer becomes null, we can safely say that we've reached the end of the tree. So that's why we are using this condition. So initially, of course, temp is not null, right? Because temp is having the value of hash 65, which means temp is not null. So this condition becomes true. So now we will go inside the while loop. So inside the while loop, the very first statement itself is a condition which is 2.2.1. Now there are 5 different conditions basically. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the else is the fifth part. So there are 5 main conditions when it comes to insertion. The first condition, 2.2.1, checks if the value inside the new node is equal to the value which is pointed by the current node. So what this if condition does, it takes the new node over here is n2, which we are trying to insert, right? N2's value is 10. So new node dot value is 10 equal to temp dot value. What is temp? Temp is hash 65, which is currently pointing to n1. So temp dot value is going to be 22, right? Is 10 equal to 22? No. So that's why this if part will not be executed, that is this entire will not be executed. So the reason why we have this condition is to check for duplicate values. Now in our implementation, we are keeping it simple, which means we don't want user to enter 2 nodes having the same value. So in case if n2 had the value of 22, we would have matched it over here, that is 22 will be equal to 22. So temp is pointing to n1, n1 is having the value of 22. And if we are inserting one more node n2 with the same value of 22, what would have happened? We would have executed this statement which says then return, which means that we will directly come outside this insert node function, and you can also print a message that no duplicates are allowed and you'll return outside this function. Okay. Now we can insert duplicate values in a binary search tree. That becomes a separate implementation. It becomes a little complicated. So for our implementation in this tutorial, we are not going to allow the user to enter duplicate values. Okay. So that's why we have this first condition 2.2.1. Alright. So the first point is clear. That is the first if condition is done. n2's value is 10. So new node basically is this n2. Okay. So whenever you pass a new node, let's say it is n2. n2 is nothing but new node over here. So new node dot value is 10. Is it equal to temp dot value? Temp is pointing to n1. n1's value is 22. Is 10 equal to 22? No. So we will not execute this part. We will move on to second condition. That is the second else if part. So this is a if, else if and else control statement. And we are going one by one because that's how you go in a linear way starting from top to bottom. Alright. So now that we've determined that the values are not matching, the second condition that we are checking is in this else if part. So there are 2 conditions in this else if part. The first condition is if this new node dot value is less than the temp dot value. So new node's value we have just seen that it is 10 and temp dot value we've determined that it is 22. So this is the first condition, that is if new node dot value is less than temp dot value, which is true in this case. 10 is less than 22. Yes. So this is true. That is the first condition is true. But we have one more condition with the AND conjunction or AND clause, which means that both the conditions have to be true in order to be true for this else if, right? So the second condition checks if temp dot left equal to null. So temp is currently pointing to n1. What is there in the left part of n1? There is nothing, which means it is null, right? So temp dot left is also null. So even this condition is true. So what happens when the new node that you want to insert in the binary search tree has a value which is less than the current node that you're pointing, and the left pointer of that particular node is also blank? In that scenario, we simply append n2 as the left child of n1, correct? Because this part is blank, that is the left part is blank. So that would simply mean that n2 can directly be a left child of n1 because n2's value 10 is less than 22. So in that case, since both these conditions are true, we will go inside this else if, which is 2.2.2.1, and we say then temp.left equals to new node. So this new node n2 is now appended or is now attached or is now inserted as the left child of temp. Temp is pointing to n1, so n1's left child now will become n2. So let's create n2 over here. So n2 is created over here. Temp.left will store the address of this new node, which is n2. What is the address of this new node n2? It is hash 33. So hash 33 will be stored in temp of left. Temp is pointing to n1. n1's left will now have 33. And this is how you add a new node to the left And then the next instruction over here is to break, which means it will come outside this entire function because we've done the insertion, and you can simply print that value inserted on the left. Okay. Alright. So we just inserted one node. Now so far we've seen two conditions, condition 1 and condition 2. We still have to see 3, 4 and 5, right? So let's insert one more node now. Okay. So let's say now we want to insert a new node n3, which is created at the address of hash 16 and has the value of 50. So just by looking at it, we know that n3 has a value of 50. 50 is greater than 22, so it has to be as the right child. But let's go through this entire pseudocode and see which condition matches, and then we will understand the pseudocode step by step better. So starting off the first condition, if root equal to null, then root equals to new node. Of course, root is not null, root is still pointing to hash 65, which is n1. So this condition will not be executed. We will move to the else. In the else, we will first set temp equals to root. So again, creating a temp variable temp, which will have root's value, which is hash 65. That is the address of n1. So temp will now point to n1. Correct? Alright. Then we will move on. We will say 2.2, which is a while loop. We will say while temp not null. Is temp null? No. Temp is not null because temp is storing the address of n1. So it is not null, of course. So now the while condition becomes true. And we will go inside the while loop. The first condition says if new node dot value equal to temp dot value. What is the new node? New node is n3. n3's value is 50. Is 50 equal to temp dot value? What is temp? Temp is hash 65, which is address of n1. n1's value is 22. Is 50 equal to 22? No. So of course this entire part will not be executed. We will move to 2.2. Now this condition says if node dot value, that is new node dot value, which is 50, is it less than temp dot value? Temp is pointing to n1. n1's value is 22. Is 50 less than 22? Of course not. So since this first condition in the else if becomes false, we don't even have to check the second condition because there is an and in between. And when we have an and between two conditions in a else if, both the conditions are supposed to be true in order to go inside that else if. But since the first condition itself has become false, the whole outcome will also become false. So we will not execute 2.2. And now we will move on to 2.3. Okay. Alright. In 2.3 what we are checking is, again we are checking if new node dot value is less than temp dot value. Again we are checking if 50, which is the new node value, which is 50 over here, is it less than temp dot value, which is again 22. So again this is also false. And I'll tell you why we are doing this duplicate checking later on. But since this else if also becomes false, 2.2.3 is not executed. We will move on to 2.2.4. Now let's check this condition. The condition is, in this else if we have new node dot value, new node's value is 50. Is it greater than temp dot value? Temp is still pointing to n1. n1's value is 22. Yes. Now this condition has matched. So 50 is greater than 22. And the second condition stays and temp dot right is equal to null. Temp is pointing to n1. What is there as the right pointer of n1? Nothing, which means that it is null. So even this condition has become true. Now what do you do when you have a node n3 which you want to insert and you also have the value greater than the node above it and that node also has the right child empty? So it makes sense to append n3 at this location, right? So inside this else if, that is what we are doing. We say then temp dot right equals to new node. So you take a new node. Let's create this node. So this new node is created n3 at the address of hash 16, and that hash 16 is now stored as the right pointer address by saying temp dot right, because temp is of course pointing to n1. n1's right is on the LHS left hand side, and on the right hand side we have new node. So new node's address is stored as temp dot right, and then you simply say break. We will come outside this function. We can print out that value is inserted on the right. Okay. Alright, so one more node is added. Okay, so far you've got a very brief idea about this entire pseudocode, but let's add a few more nodes to understand those other conditions in detail. Okay, so let's add one more node n4, which is created at the address hash 3 and has the value 7. So of course, just by looking at it, we can clearly say that 7 is less than 22. So it will go to the left part, that is the left subtree. Then we have n2. 7 is less than 10 also. So n4 is going to be the left child of n2. But how does that happen in this pseudocode? Because we have to write a code. So of course we have to follow the different steps. So again, let's follow the steps quickly. Of course, this part is not going to be true. So step number 1 is not going to be executed. Root is not null. Then we'll go in the else part. We will set temp equals to root. So temp is created over here. It is pointing to root, which is n1. So has the address of hash 65. This is something that we've done 2-3 times now. So after 2.1 is done, we will say 2.2 while temp not null. So temp is not null because temp is pointing to n1. So while loop will start executing. We will go in the while loop. We will first check if this new node's value, which is 7, is equal to temps dot value, which is 22. It is not. So this will not be executed. We will go to 22. Now over here in the 2.2.2, the else if part, we have two conditions. Let's see new node dot value. What is new node dot value? The n4 is the new node whose value is 7. So let's write 7 over here. Is it less than temp dot value? What is temp's value? Temp is pointing to n1. n1's value is 22. Now 7 is less than 22. Correct? So this statement has become true. However, you cannot insert n4 right below n1 because n1 already has a left child, which is n2, right? So if n2 was not there, if n2 didn't exist, let's remove n2 and let's make the address as null. So if n2 didn't exist and you are supposed to add n4, where would n4 go? n4 would be directly assigned over here as the left child of n1, and n4's address, that is hash 3, will be stored over here. Correct? But that is not the case over here. Right now we have n2 as the left child of n1, which means in the else if the first condition becomes true, however the second condition which says temp.left equal to null becomes false, because temp is pointing to n1. When I say temp.left, I am saying n1's left. Is n1's left equal to null? No, because temp.left is having an address of hash 33. So it is not null, and 33 is the address of n2, which means that this condition becomes false. And since there is an AND in between these two conditions, both of these two conditions have to be true in order to insert a new node as the left child of n1. That is because when you want to insert a node at a particular location or as a child of a particular node, let's say it is a left child, then of course the left address has to have blank, which means that that node should not have any prior child. Otherwise you cannot add that node over there, right? So that is why we have these two conditions. So this also becomes false. That is 2.2.2 else if becomes false. We will go to 2.2.3. Now again, I am using the same condition which says new node dot value, which is 7, is less than temp dot value. Temp dot value, which means temp is pointing to n1 and n1's value is 22. But over here if you observe, I am not using an AND clause and I am not using this condition. This is because in this else if we are not inserting. In this else if we are simply saying, because this is true, this condition becomes true, we will go inside this else if and we say temp is equal to temp.left. What did I do over here? Now this is where we are traversing. Traverse to the left child. I'll write LC as left child. So temp is equal to temp.left. What did I do? What is temp.left? Currently temp is pointing to n1. What is n1's left? Hash 33. So hash 33 is now stored in temp. So this address hash 33 will now be stored over here. So let's erase this. And now temp has the address of hash 33. Which node has the address of 33? You can see n2 has the address of hash 33. So now temp is not pointing to the root. Temp is pointing to n2. So basically what we did, we came from n1 to n2 using this temp pointer. Okay. And this is where of course the else if ends. And since this else if, that is 2.2.3 got executed, 2.2.4 will not be executed and else will not be executed because only one of these else if and else blocks will be executed at one time. So now we will come at the end of the while loop and again go at the start of the while loop. And now we will again check, is temp not null? Temp just started pointing to n2, right? So temp's value is hash 33. Is temp null? No, because temp is still pointing to some node. So temp is not null, which means this condition is true. So now again this while loop will start executing. So this is the second round we are taking for this while loop, because we still have to insert this n4 and we couldn't insert it directly over here, so we have to traverse from n1 to n2, and now we are at n2. So again the process will be executed using the while loop. So again we will check if new node.value equals to temp.value. What is new node's value? New node is n4 that we want to insert. It is 7. Is 7 equal to temp.value? And now temp is pointing to n2. What is n2's value? 10. Is 7 equal to 10? No. So we will not execute 2.1, we will go to 2.2.2. Over here the condition is checked. New node.value, it is 7. The new node that we want to insert is n4 whose value is 7. Is 7 less than temp.value? Temp is pointing to n2 whose value is 10. So is 7 less than 10? Yes. So this condition becomes true. And now we say temp.left. Temp is pointing to n2. So when I say temp.left, it means n2.left. What is there as the left of n2? Nothing, which means it is null. So even this condition becomes true. So now we will go inside this 2.2.1 and we say temp.left, which means n2.left equals to this new node. So now we simply create a new node, which is n4, which is created at the address of #3, and #3 is stored at temp.left. So temp.left means n2.left, which is LHS, and RHS is this new node. So this new node's address is going to be stored as the left child of n2. So now we have done this linking, and n2 has the value of 7. And then we say break, we come out of this function, we print that the value is inserted at the left, and that's how you do an insertion. Okay, so now that we've added so many nodes, I'm assuming you guys have got an idea. If not, just pause this video and dry run this code, this pseudocode yourself by adding few more nodes. Let's take one more node. In fact, let's say we want to add one more node, n5, at the address #9, and let's say the value is 66. Just by looking at the value is greater than 22, so we will go to the right. The value is greater than 50, so it has to be at the right of n3, that is the right child. So for the first time, you will start with temp pointing to the root. So initially temp will have the address of #65, which means temp will point to n1, right? So we are over here. Then we will say while temp not null, then we will check this condition. First condition will becomes false because new node's value 66 is not equal to 50. Then we will check this condition. Is new node's value less than temp.value? No, 66 is not less than 22 because temp is currently pointing to 22, that is n1. So this will not be executed. We will come over here, again check the same condition. Is 66 less than 22? No. So this will not be executed. We will come over here, and here we will check new node.value, which is 66, that is n5's value. Is it greater than temp.value? What is temp? Temp is currently pointing to 22. Yes. So 66 is greater than 22. But we also have to check this extra condition which says and temp.right equals to null. So temp is currently pointing to n1. n1's right is not null. n1's right has the address of n3. So temp.right is #16 right now. It is not null. So this statement becomes false, or this condition becomes false. So collectively this entire else if will also become false because of this AND clause. So we will not go inside this else if. And of course this is right? We don't have to go inside this else if because you cannot insert, because this else if is doing the insertion over here. We said temp.right equals to new node. But you cannot insert n5 below n1. You cannot do that because n1 already has a right child of n3. So then we come at the last else part and we say temp equals to temp.right. So now what is temp.right? Currently temp is pointing to n1. n1's right is #16. So #16 will now be stored in temp at this line. So #16 will now be stored in temp, and now temp will start pointing to n3 because n3's address is #16, correct? We will come at the end of the while loop. We'll again go at the start of the while loop and we'll check temp not null. Yes, temp is not null because temp is #16 now, which is pointing to n3. And we will again go through all these conditions first condition is going to be false, second is going to be false, third is also going to be false if you just quickly check it. And now 2.2.4 will be true because new node dot value is 66. 66 is of course greater than temp dot value. Temp is currently hash 16. Hash 16 is nothing but address of n3 and n3's value is 50. So 66 is greater than 50, yes. And temp dot right. So temp is pointing to n3. n3's right is blank, which means n3's right child is blank. It does not have a right child. So this is null. So this is equal to null. So even this condition becomes true. So collectively both these conditions are true, and because of the AND clause, we will go inside this else if and we will say temp.write equals to new node. So this new node's address of hash 9 will be stored over here as temp.write. So hash 9 will go inside temp.write. And then we can add a new node over here. Let's do that. And then n3 will be linked to n5. So n3's right child will be n5. And you can break out of the function over here. You'll come outside and you can say that value inserted. Okay, so this was the entire insert node pseudocode, which is a step-by-step instructions. And we also saw diagrammatically how the new nodes are added following this entire pseudocode. So I hope you've got the overall working and understood the pseudocode as well as the diagrammatic representation. And now the only thing left out is to convert this pseudocode into our C++ code. So let's go to the Dev C++ IDE and write the insert node function. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I have opened up my Dev C++ IDE and I have opened up the code that we typed in the previous tutorial. Remember, I told you that in the previous tutorial we started off with the implementation and we wrote a little bit of code. So this is what we did. We created the tree node class. So we will create the objects of tree node. Okay, and this is something new. This is one extra line that we did not do in the previous tutorial. I will explain to you what this means later on. Right now just type it along with me. Don't worry, I'm going to be sharing this entire code with you guys after all the BST operations are done. But if you don't find that link in the video description for this entire code, it would mean that we still have to cover some tutorials on this BST. So in the meantime, please type this one line. Now coming down, we also did the class BST. We created that. Inside that I've just created an extra constructor. This was not there in the previous tutorial's code. So just copy this or just type this out. And then we also have this extra print 2D function, which I will explain later on when we go to the printing in traversal. And I'm just creating this extra function in the BST class because after insertion we obviously want to see the tree also, right? We want to see the nodes added into the tree. So I will create a separate tutorial to explain this printing part. Right now I've just copy pasted it so that we can see the output. And of course this is where, okay, this was extra. And this is where we will actually write our void insert function. Okay, so I'll say void insert node, and inside the insert node we will pass the pointer to the tree node object as an argument. I'll explain to you what this is, but just type along with me. And if you just scroll down, this is what we also typed in the previous tutorial itself. We are taking the option number from the user and we are showing it a menu driven program, and depending upon the option that the user enters, we will do that particular BST operation. In our case, we are going to do the insert node, so user will enter 1 and we will do the insertion over and over again. So this is where we take the option number from the user, and in the switch case, this is where the insert function will be called. Okay, but let's first quickly create this insert node function. On the right hand side, you can also see the entire pseudocode. We will go step by step. So the first condition or the first statement in the pseudocode is if root equal to null. So of course we will first check if the root is null, and if the root is null, we will add this new node directly as the root. So we will say root equals to new node and we will say value inserted. Let's say value inserted as root node. Okay. Now to explain to you what this pointer is, basically this root is nothing but a data member in the BST class. We say tree node star root, right? So this is nothing but a pointer of type tree node. And if you observe, this is also a pointer of type tree node. So that's why we can directly equate this. And the reason why we are playing with pointers in C++ is because we are going to use the concept of dynamic memory allocation, and we are going to create tree objects or tree node objects on the heap memory. and I'll show you how that goes, but right now just follow along. If you're confused, I'll explain to you what that means in a minute. So the next thing is to do the else part. In the else part, the first step, that is 2.1, is to create a temporary pointer, a tree node pointer, and say temp equals to root. So whatever the address in the root is getting copied in the temp tree node pointer. Then we have a while loop, right? So next we say while temp not null. So we will keep on executing this while loop till the temp is not null, because we will have to traverse from the root node till the lower levels where we want to do the insertion. Now inside this while loop, of course, as I mentioned, we have those 5 different conditions. Let's write the code for that. And I'm copy pasting a little code line by line because I don't want to waste a lot of time. You guys can pause this video and type it out. And I highly recommend that you please type it with your own hands as a beginner at least one time for best practice. So the first condition is if this new node's value that we want to insert is equal to the temp.value. And if that is the case, we will say value already exists, insert another value, pretty basic. And we simply say return, so we come outside this function and ask the user for another value, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next condition. So the next condition is again else if, and we say if new node.value is less than the temp.value and temp.left equal to null. In that case, we will say temp of left equals to this new node, and we will say cout value inserted. Now if you're wondering what are these arrows, that is the hyphen and arrow methodology, it is because this new node and this temp are nothing but pointers of type tree node. So they are pointing to the object. So they are not directly the object, they are just pointers. And when you want to access the data member, so these are the 3 different data members in the tree node class, right? So when you want to access these data members inside an object using pointers, you use this syntax. So this is something related to C++ fundamentals. I hope you already know that. If not, you can check out my C++ for beginners tutorials. We've covered the pointer to class and pointer to structure concept over there. We've also talked about dynamic memory allocation. All those things are covered. So I'm guessing you guys already know that. Okay, so moving on, then you simply say value inserted and you break out of this function. Let's move on to the next condition. In the next condition, we say if new node.value is less than equal to temp.value, we simply say temp equals to temp.left. That is, you traverse to the left child. Okay. That is because if this else if is false, it would mean that the temp.left is not null. Means that the level that we are at currently, which is pointed by temp, the node that is pointed by this temp pointer, that node already has a left child. So we will have to go to the left child and then go one level below to insert a new node. So that is done over here. Now just like traversal to the left, the last 2 conditions, that is these 2 conditions, are related to traversing to the right or insertion to the right. So in this else if the new node's value is greater than the temp.value and temp.right is null, it would mean that we can insert this new node to the right position, that to the right child of the temp, because it is null. So we say value inserted. Let's say here value inserted to the left, and here we will say value inserted to the right. Okay, and in the last else we will simply traverse from that particular node to the right child. Okay, so this is pretty much it with the insert node function, and I know I copy pasted quite a lot of code to save some time, but now we still have some more work in the main function. Now in the main function, along with this int option, we will create the BST object. So BST is nothing but our class. You can see class BST, which will have the tree node root pointer. So of course we'll have to create an object, right, of this class. So we say BST object, then we create the option. The option is nothing but the option number that the user will select, and we also have a val integer variable. This is the value of that particular node that the user will enter. Okay, so you'll see the usage down. Let's move on. Now inside this case 1, this is where the insertion happens. So this is where we'll have to call the insert node function. So before we call the function, what we have to do, we have to say enter the value of tree node to insert in the BST, and then we will take the value from the user saying c in val. Now what we can do is we will say new node of value equals to this value that we take from the user. We will say obj dot insert node, and we will pass this new node, and we will say cout endl. So what is this new node? So this new node is something that we have to create first over here, and we can do that using this syntax. We say tree node star new node equals to new using this new keyword, and we say tree node. So what this line of code does is, in the heap memory a object of tree node is created, and in the stack memory a pointer of tree node is created, and this new node is pointing to that object in the heap memory. So why do this indirect method, and why not use this simple way of creating a new object by saying node n1 equals to new node, or by simply saying node n1. You can do this also, right? But this will create a node in the stack memory of the RAM. So our RAM is divided into stack and heap, that is two different types of memories. Heap is related to the dynamic memory allocation, and we are going to use that. The reason why we are doing that is because when you create an object in the heap memory using this methodology, that object has global scope and it will be there throughout this program execution. So till you completely close this program or explicitly erase that memory, till then that object will reside in the memory. Okay? And that is what we want, because we are going to run this switch case over and over again, right? We are going to use this do while loop over and over again to insert multiple nodes and to also do other operations. So if this do while loop runs one time, and if you create a node using this method, when the do while loop will run second time, this node n1 will go out of scope and that memory will be destroyed. But we don't want that. So that's why we use this methodology of creating an object in the heap memory and pointing it using a pointer, and that's why we say tree node star new node. So this is how you create a pointer, and when you want the pointer to point to an object, you say new tree node, and this will create the object in the heap, and the address of that object will be stored in this new node pointer. Okay, sounds a little complicated, but I've tried to explain to you using this diagram, and I'm guessing you guys have a basic idea about it. And you can directly pass this new node inside this insert node method. So this object obj is nothing but an object of BST class. In this BST class we have a member function which we just created, which is insert node, and it is taking a pointer of tree node itself. So that's why we can directly pass this new node over here, and this new node will be passed inside this function and it will get inserted. So I'm guessing this is pretty much it for this insertion code. For the printing of the BST values, we have option number 4, and this is where I have to call the obj.print function. So I'll just paste this code here. I'll say obj.print2d, and this print2d, as I mentioned, is a printing function which will print all the values in the tree, and we simply have to pass the root value saying obj.root, and we have to pass the space value. As I mentioned, I will explain this to you in further tutorials when we come to the printing. And this constant variable hash define space 10 is related to that function, so I'll explain to you when we come to the printing only. Right now we are just using this so that we can also see the values that are inserted. Okay, so let's go to execute, compile and run, and our program is working perfectly fine. You can see, let's try to insert. Insertion is option number 1. Hit option number 1 and hit enter. You can see insert, and the program is asking us to enter a value of tree node to insert in the BST. Let's insert 45, hit enter, and you can see value inserted as the root node. That is because the first time we don't have anything to the root node, so value gets inserted as the root node. And again the do while loop is executed, the menu driven program comes back. Let's insert one more value, let's say 34, and now we should get a message that value inserted to the left because 34 is less than 45. When I hit enter, you can see value inserted to the left, which means our program is pretty much working fine. Let's insert one more value. Option number 1 is for insert. Let's insert 67. So now the root value is 45, the left child is 34, so 67 should be the right child. When I hit enter, you can see value inserted to the right. Let's do clear screen by saying option number 5. Option 5 just clears the command prompt. And now let's do the print BST values, option number 4, which will call the print2d function. When I hit enter, there you go, you can see print, and you can see 45 as the root, 34 as the left child and 67 as the right. This 2D diagram is a tree diagram which is inverted 90 degree in anti-clockwise, but this is the best representation that we can do using a function in a 2D way. You could have also printed the values in a one single line, but that would not be that intuitive. Let's insert one more value. Let's insert 10, and that should be inserted as the left child of 34, right? So now you can see value inserted to the left. Let's clear the screen and now let's print values, and there you go. You can see root node as 45, left child as 34, right child as 67, and for 34 node the left child is 10. So if I insert one more value, let's say it is 40, it should be inserted as the right child of 34. When I hit enter, you can see value inserted to the right. Clearing the screen and printing the values, now you can see 40 is inserted as the right child of 34, which means our insertion is working perfectly fine. Even our printing is working. The printing functionality we'll discuss later on, but this is where we've pretty much achieved the entire insertion operation for a binary search tree. Okay, so this was the entire implementation, the working, the diagrammatic representation, as well as the C++ code for the insert function. And I did the implementation, the practical coding a little faster, but I'm guessing you guys can understand this. As I mentioned, I will be sharing this code with you guys on our official website, so you can go ahead and copy paste it and you can try run it yourself. I hope you understood the entire PST insertion operation. So this is where I'm going to conclude this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments how this video was. It took a lot of time and effort for this video, so please drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, so that you get notified when we upload the next parts. And as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.